I read a lot of manga, and I probably won't be the first person you've heard saying that they've read so much manga, it's difficult to keep up with the slow pace of anime compared to it. Obviously, some series have it way worse than most, but when you start reading manga, it's so much easier to recognize just how padded and boring so much anime can actually be. In September of 2022, I started reading a manga series you've probably heard of, Oshinoko. Anyone I talked to at the time heard me gush about how much I loved the series, and I declared at the time that the anime would blow everyone's minds and take the world by storm. And I was definitely right for about a week or two, because though the show was incredibly popular, after the first episode, the hype slowed down significantly. It never reached the part of the series that was my favorite from the manga, and I feel didn't really do enough to elevate the source material into a different, better product. It's a great adaptation, don't get me wrong, but something I couldn't really place could have been better. This is a problem I was afraid of running into when a different one of my favorite manga series was about to get adapted. But when I sat down to watch the first 4 episodes of Frieren, which dropped in September of 2023, I was pretty blown away. Literal first thing about animation to be able to tell that the anime succeeds at its first job. It looks incredible. Adaptations so often fail to meet this requirement, not because they look bad, but because the still images of manga are just so much easier to make look good than the thousands of frames that go into a single 20-minute episode. Manga readers get a bad rep for overplaying how much better the manga looks sometimes, but you have to be honest, a lot of the time the manga just genuinely does look that much better. And when you take a look at the Frieren manga, it's obvious Studio Madhouse had some huge shoes to fill. The anime has a pretty different visual identity to the manga, which can be concerning going into it, but the story toes the line, creating something new while still looking like Frieren. One of anime's biggest advantages over manga is its ability to bring little moments to life. Manga just can't capture the intricacies of mannerisms or expressions to the extent anime can, and I think the anime definitely just speaks for itself here. The dance between Fern and Stark, these are the panels it's adapting. Sure, there are almost always super highly animated moments in anime that'll outdo the manga equivalent, but it feels like Frieren just never looks bad. It's honestly amazing. The littlest movements to the most grandiose of fights are absolute feasts for the eyes, and I personally could have never asked for more. I'd also probably have to be literally insane to not mention how good this series sounds. The voice acting is just incredible. Every character sounds pretty much exactly how I envisioned them in both sub and dub, and while there are a couple of voices that I'm not totally sold on, the actors honestly still do such a good job at portraying their characters that I can't be angry. Characters like Dub Zerie, Dub Fern, and just Ubel in general blew me away with how well the voices fit their personalities, and they managed to elevate some of the already amazing characters to new heights through their performances. Plus, the OST is just incredible. I don't even have the words to describe how well the stars aligned for the overall production of this series. Every moment is one for the history books, and in spite of its crazy animation and often high-octane music, the series' usual tone is preserved in its entirety. But as much as I can praise the sights and sounds of the Frieren anime, what I love the most about it is how it manages to make the manga something new, and in a lot of respects, something better. Due to how the medium of manga functions, compared to anime, if you don't go out of your way to engage with the story by talking or reading about it, it's way easier for details to slip out of your mind. I found myself remembering a lot of details as they were happening while watching Frieren, and I think the way the anime presents every moment in the plot, breathing life into the most and least significant moments of the story, have served to make the story of Frieren way more memorable. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that it has always been a fantastic story, but the medium of animation serves the story so well. In a story about slowing down and enjoying every little, seemingly insignificant moment of life, a medium with the ability to not only present a much higher level of detail, but also just control the viewer's pace is exactly what Frieren needs. The world feels like it's truly living and breathing. The characters' relationships are allowed to feel so much more human, and I think, like I just said, most importantly, the series can actually set its own pace. In a story like One Piece, which is an adventure best enjoyed over a long time, being able to experience it as quickly or slowly as you want is probably ideal and aids its storytelling. But with Frieren, the nature of time is super important to how the series presents itself. The directors actually get to dictate exactly how long the viewer spends on each portion of the story. Time can sometimes feel like it's flying by or like it's slowed to a crawl, and the Frieren anime is in complete control over its viewers' perception of time. Every episode of Frieren feels like it's over in an instant, and the careful control over the story's pace is integral to that fact. With the anime coming to an end pretty soon, I felt I had to sort of strike while the iron is hot and say something about the series while it's still ongoing. The story has delighted me every single week since it started. Despite my knowing everything that was coming well before it happened, getting to experience the relationships between this incredible cast of characters for what honestly feels like the first time for a second time is something I've never experienced before. No seasonal show has ever made me feel as much raw emotion as Frieren has, and I'm so happy to have gotten to not only enjoy it, but also watch so many people enjoy it for the genuine first time ever. I hope you're loving it even half as much as I have been, and I honestly hope that whenever the series gets renewed for a second season, they're able to keep up the quality with some of the amazing stuff I know is coming up. Thanks so much for watching, and I'd appreciate a subscription.